What's up, guys, and welcome to the Professional Opinion Show. It looks like I'm lagging here, but I'll be one of your hosts, Tyler, with my host, Cotton here. What is up, brother?
What's up, dude? Yeah, you lagged for a split second, but it looks like it's going right now. I think it was waiting for me to say I consent to all the wrongdoing I'm about to do.
I gotcha. Yeah. So you have to bear with us. This is episode 1, figuring out all the tech hurdles and whatnot. But nonetheless, I'm excited to finally see your face and hop on here, man.
Yeah, I did. I felt like we had all the background stuff done, Black Friday merchandise purchase for me set up, and then life really jumped in the way for a bit. And so, yeah, no, it's really good to finally sit down and try to tackle this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. For context, this is early January. So happy New Year, everybody. We did all this planning kind of right at the end of the year, and then the holidays had different ideas for when we're gonna roll this thing out. So ironing out all the details, but yeah, excited to be here, man. So what's up in your world?
So, as you know, recently I quit my job, which, just for more context for that, retired military guy, 20 years retired. And so for the past 20 years, that was something that, and this prior military yourself, it never feels like you can quit. Right. And so to be able to invoke that right to walk away. And I only remember I've always had, since I was like 13, I've had jobs, whether it was like cutting grass under the table with the old man or detail cars as a chef at McDonald's, and then just general custodian engineer for Ace Hardware, janitor. But all those, it's just like, you're just trying to get money to like pay for your bad habits, and you're there until you annoy someone. But having a real career, not feeling like you can't quit. What is voluntary service? But you can't just like, hey, I'm out, And to be able to do that, bro, that simple. And I literally, I apologize. I'm not looking at this camera. I'm trying to look at you and express my feelings. But I don't know, dude. I don't even know if it was the right move. But to be able to do that, God, dude, it was, I guess, empowering in its own way. I felt like I get to be an adult and
Right.
and make my own decision that, hey, this does not satisfy me on the way that I thought it was. It would have helped if what I was told was actually what I was going to do. But, it seems like I should have known. I went back for a government gig, and I said I wouldn't mess with Uncle Sam again. And I think I made it less than a year, and I was back in that old man's house, remembering why I wanted to leave in the first place. But yeah, so that going on, which was super exciting. This I've been looking forward to literally all day. I have so much going on. 2025 is going to be a big one for me. I'm super amped because I obviously I know people are listening. I didn't just walk away from my job without a plan. I got kids, wife, mortgage. Yeah, I did some adulting beforehand. I have things lined up that will hopefully pan out. And I never quit my private sector gig that I was doing in the first place. I just switched all my clients to morning. So now that's easy. I just popped back there full time. So it's not like I'm unemployed. I had 2 jobs, one I didn't like, discarded to pursue what sounds like a much better option for me mentally. But it's funny, dude. So I was getting ready, got home, took a shower, getting ready for this. And now that we're here doing it, I just realized I still have my razor sitting on the bathroom sink. But I know this is mostly podcast people listening, but so I'm short, 5'7", bald head, big nose, shaggy beard. And in order for me, since I'm a vertically challenged male, to feel confident when something new is happening, that slick bald head, sets the tone for me, right? It's a real thing, dude. Bald life is rough, right? Everybody acts like you just wake
I'm
up.
almost there, man. You just need to get you a hat.
Dude. Which I'm so serious about this, Tyler. I've had clients that were like, I'm not late. I'm not going to be late. On time is late. So if I had one client, I showed up, it's 5 minutes before our start time. retired military, now strength coach. So I show up to do this training session, and she was like, "Man, I thought you were sick and something happened." And I was like, "I looked at the clock, ma'am, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't take my hat off. And I love this hat, but it's gonna get soaking wet in sweat because half my
Shit.
head shaved because I
Oh
started,
yeah.
bro, because I started this process with great intent and then looked at my watch and realized that I had not done the proper time management for the time this was gonna take. So I threw on the hat, and she was like, "Psh, I don't care." And I'm like, "That's cool. I do." And it
Right.
like, dude, it really, now I'm slightly self-conscious on here because like this new gig coming up. Let's say hypothetically, what today is Thursday. So let's say I've already done the resume, placement exams, all this stuff. Right now, all that's left is the hiring board, right? So let's say hypothetically that's next Wednesday, right? Which would be dope if I get an email on that, and that's what it really is. But I will literally let my hair grow out Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday because stubble shave is like asking for razor burn. So if I can let it get just a little bit out, it'll be super smooth, right?
Right.
And even if I go in there sounding like the dumb chucklehead I sound like with my Alabama accent, right? But this dome, it looks like Mr. Clean on a Windex bottle. Dude, it sets the
So
tone for a confidence for me. It's a real thing. It's a real bald life is hard. Uh, but
interesting
yeah,
because I mean I don't know if I know anybody as confident as you are. So that's interesting that you do have a semi complex on the bald head part.
yeah, dude, for real. If there was a hat in here right now, I'd grab it. And you know what's also funny as it's like I'm not a hat guy. I like because I feel like I look like an idiot, and because everybody, you have the hat that I love. That's not that trucker BS thing that sits up like a helmet. I hate those, and some people look super cool in those, like that the skater kid with the black guy on MTV
Oh
way back in the
dang, what's
day.
his name?
Ridiculousness. That
Yeah, yeah.
cat, whatever his name was. See,
Rob Deerdick. Yeah.
Rob, dude, yeah. Looks cool in all his little hats with the flat brim and all. Dude, I can't pull that off. I'm sure my wife wishes I could, but I can't pull that off, right? My son can, which is annoying. He can pull off anything with all his glorious hair. But yeah, no, it doesn't work for me, man. Only the dad baseball caps work for me.
Heads down. Dude, I feel you though. I'm getting mine's slowly trickling away and I'm hanging on to what I got, rocking with the comb over. Just hardcore I'm taking everything I got over here and trying to cover up the bald spots. But in the meantime,
I will.
just throw the
I'll
hat
be
on and
your Ace Boone Coon, dude. I will be your Ace Boone Coon that calls you out if ever the day comes where I see you as that sad man with the long three long ass hairs that they're trying to pretend is a hairdo. You know? Yeah. No, don't. Yeah, don't be
yeah, I
that
still
guy.
got a couple. I got a handful. If I get down to 3, yeah, you have to call me out on that.
But
uh,
other than that, no, dude. Super excited about this year and all the prospects. How about you?
yeah, man. So this year, I'm for background context, heavily involved in real estate. I'm a full time house flipper and a real estate agent. The end of the year was a little tough. Things, I think a lot of uncertainty in the world, and nonetheless, but the real estate obviously trickles down to the real estate market. Interest rates are higher than I think everybody's been used to for some time. Got the Donald coming into office here. I think that whole election process basically kept a lot of people out from buying. So we had a ton of properties that were rehab sitting on the market. I think no one wanted to look at them. So I say the past 2 weeks, I think we've gotten 4 houses under contract. So things are rolling from a business
Congrats.
perspective. Also, I spent most of my time doing that. Also, part-time owner of another small business that's coming out of the gate swinging in the new year as well. So, yeah, man, things have been rocking and rolling for me as well. I did want to touch on one thing I thought was interesting because you and I talk all the time. But when you said that we were in the military for so long and you felt like you couldn't quit, so I quit my full time. I exited the military. I worked in corporate America for 7 years. But I think subconsciously until you just said that, I think I hung out for so long because like I didn't know I couldn't quit it. Like I didn't know it was a real thing. I feel like most people
It's it scared me when you did that. I'll never forget when you
scare me
came up.
too.
Yeah, I'll never forget when you came up to me talking about it. Again, for context, obviously, if you hadn't put this together, me and Tyler were also stationed together. And actually, Tyler was my trainer. So any success I had at that location was because of him. But you were the first person, I think, too, man. And I think I'd already been in like 10 years at that time, or pretty damn close, if not. Because that was what, 2000. Oh, over 10, bro. Was that 2014?
I got out in 16.
Yeah, so
So
it's
yeah,
around there,
probably.
right?
Yeah.
Around there. Actually, probably closer to 13 because that's right. I had shattered this the year before. Uh, so yeah, so around like 2013, end of, because we came down Halloween
Yep.
officially. Yeah, and you were the first person I met that like, God, this sounds terrible, but
Don't make me blush on here, man.
first person that I met that had plans past a military career. You know what I mean? That was already like looking that far down the road, which is why I think we worked so well together. You're looking 5 years down the road, and I'm can tell you the next 5 minutes of what I might do. And you just had it, it didn't hurt that you had already ventured in like entrepreneurship beforehand with like the t-shirt company thing and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and already had success. And I just remember being in awe and also thinking that like, God, dude, how am I this far along in my military career, older than this guy, and he's already figured out life, and I don't even know what I want to be when I grow up. And so, because of that, I was thinking when you came to me about it, like, hell, you already got all your cards in orders. Why not? And if I'm being completely honest, right, as I try to be, there was a part of me that wanted to see you be successful. So I knew it was an option.
It was fun.
Yeah, like it's a real thing. Like you can do that and you can bail and not be just exiting because like this ain't working out. It's not what I thought it was. You can actually get out and still be successful because I think that's kind of almost like a kind of a retainability tactic to
Oh,
keep people in because I've had a lot of leaders that are like, "What are you talking about? You're about to promote, or I'm going to send you on this TDY, get you this new skill, blah 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 blah." Which I don't regret hanging around at all, but to see you actually pull the trigger, do it, and the coolest part, dude, the coolest part was like you didn't just get out and take an entry level position anywhere. Like,
yeah.
can you speak to that and like that, like, because I know, man, that had to be, dude, that had to be almost like earth shaking in a way to leave what we were doing, right? Which was still high level, but like in that corporate world, this whole new scenery, and you didn't go into like be the cashier.
You're right. Yeah, yeah. So you pumped me up pretty good there. But all I knew in the military was, I think my agreement was like I had to get back home. Like I was fortunate, my family was super tight. I just knew like I joined the military to get my degree, and then I got to go back home. Like I just got to be home. Mom's gonna
The
kick my
only
ass if I'm
person from
not. Yeah,
Ohio that went
yeah,
back.
exactly. Yeah, and they were, when people find out I moved from Charleston, South Carolina, back to Cincinnati. What are you doing, bro? But so anyway, yeah, I knew I had to get back home. Didn't exactly know what I wanted to do. Always did have like an entrepreneurial spirit, so I figured like I got to bet on myself and figure something out. Also moved back home with a 1-month-old child. Highly don't
Oh
recommend
my
that
God,
if you
yeah,
have the
you
opportunity. Yeah. So what I would like I said, one thing I have been, I think my entire life is super intentional. So I think by the time I met you, I already knew, hey, I got 2.5 years left. I'm already talking with people back home, different business guys. I got LinkedIn with all there's a lot of good programs like VA to corporate. And so, I was just constantly networking, trying to figure this thing out. Somewhere along the line, I learned that there's this thing called project management um, that pays pretty good.
Huge right now. Huge right now.
Yeah. 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 Especially in the IT world and I mean, everywhere really. But so I just went heads down on, became, YouTube University trained project manager. And then got all the backup, on paper certifications needed to do so. I was in my PMP, if you're familiar with that space, project management professional. Actually, pretty challenging to get because you do have to have a lot of prior experience leading projects before you can even take the exam. But so I feel like one thing that throw this back at you a little bit that you always taught me, and or I kind of just learned from being in your aura is less about kind of what you can exactly fit in these black and white lines, or you can just like act like you're supposed to be there, show that you're supposed to be there, make things up, kind of I won't say make things up, but kind of play the role, and people will assume that you're like supposed to be doing what you're doing. So I wrote down all these projects that I've already managed, which anything you've ever really done, you could call a project. Project is anything that has a definitive
Sure.
beginning and end. So on paper, I've been managing projects for 5 years in the military, managing people, putting them on airplanes, making sure they got there and back. I mean, yeah, it's not a too far stretch from the reality, but I think a lot of people that I talk to in that same space would say, because I talk to people in the military and like, oh, but you can't because, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, well, I'm going to try it, see what happens. And I found out if you are looking into that, that whole process is a big rubber stamp. So go for it if you're on the fence. But yeah, anyway, I think to get to the point of the story, I got, so I went in and sold myself at this interview. At the interview, it was very obvious that I had been, I could say all the vocab words, I could speak to it, but it was very obvious I was not a long practitioner project manager. They're
Is
kind of
that your
looking at me.
perception, or you think they were like
It was
looking
my
around like,
perception. It was my
okay,
perception, and I raised eyebrows, and then once I got hired on, I met back with them, and they're like, "Yeah, we didn't know what the heck you were talking about." But, hey, but
we didn't
I
know what
ended
you were
the
talking about, but you're handsome. So
no, but she was pretty much like, I've been getting cool with my boss. She was like, pretty much, you were like, we were kind of on the fence. We didn't know like you were diving deep into military stuff, and we couldn't really follow. And also, like, now that I'm in their world, they have a very rigid, like, you're in this phase for this long, then you transition to this phase and different phases of
right.
projects. And for me, I was just, it was all one big thing here. But anyway, I left the interview, like, before I got up from my chair, I'm like, look, I can tell by the look on all your guys' faces, like, you can tell that I don't fit perfectly in your box, but I guarantee if you take a bet on me, you won't regret it. And kind of just went on like a little rant there, like I've wanted
You
everything I've
sold
done.
yourself
Yeah, basically. And I think she was like, "Oh yeah, when you did that," I was like, "Oh, I forgot everything else that you said before that." So
because it
long
shows
story short,
initiative, confidence. Yeah, dude.
yeah. Or what's the right word? Desperateness, desperation. When you have a wife and 1 month old at home, you'll say whatever you ever need to say. But I think to get to ultimately where you were driving towards, so I kind of sold myself into a position where I got handed a project that like a several $1 million project of all these high level things. There's like 80 people on this team, and it was trial by fire. So I think I called him one day. I'm like, bruh, this is I mean, it was intense. But the cool thing is to make it actually a good story. Man, very long days and stuff, but I ended up like figuring it out. Ended up enjoying it for a long time, and then just got burned down on it after a while. It didn't kind of fuel the fire inside me. I mean, it was something that paid the bills really
Right.
well. And I think at the beginning too, it was a challenge. It was like, I'm not gonna let this beat me. But then after like I conquered it, it was like, okay, I'm also not gonna do this for 40 years either. So yeah, I ultimately decided to step away from that job, which was it was a great company. I was making like over six figures as right out of the military, which I was not planning. I didn't know that was possible for me. Um, Great benefits, all the corporate perks, which now I fully understand the term golden handcuffs. There's a reason people don't quit corporate too often. Is like they just keep throwing money and stock options and this and that, and they handcuff you to the desk for your entire career. So, yeah, the military has their version of handcuffs, but they're just definitely not
I
golden.
was just thinking, they are not. They are rusty. They're more like zip ties.
Plastic zip ties there. So broke out of
Yeah.
those, and then eventually broke the golden handcuffs, and now figuring it out on a daily basis.
Yeah, now you're
But
just a
yeah,
convict on the run. And if you heard anything from me to go there, I know exactly what it was. It's because all my sayings are pretty repetitive. But yeah, dude, sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it, right? And what I think where people really like sell themselves short is a lot of times everyone thinks that they have to know everything. I don't care what job we're talking about, right? You never have to know all the answers. And if you do know all the answers, it's probably time for you to get in a different room anyways, right? Because you've peaked, right? But you don't have to have all the answers. You just got to know where to find them, right? Uh, and I say that, God, dude, as soon as I said that, I just had like this shake in my spine that my son might see this and we have to revisit the school conversation. I told you that, right? He no longer needs to attend school. He gave me like a top 10 list. And the first 6 reasons were like, yeah,
uh,
yeah, I get it, dude. Google, YouTube, Quizlet, teachers pulling things off and lucky for me, I just resorted to, hey man, it's the law. So
there it
sorry.
is. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think a lot of times I even find in what I do now and love, right? Training people that for the most part, in my experience at least, people are so much more capable than they give themselves credit for. It's just a lot of times I think people are just too scared to jump into that new world they don't know about, right? And especially what I like about everything you said, what I like about the most and what stands out the most is the same thing your boss had told you, right? Like if you stood up and said that to me at the end, I too will forget everything that happened before, especially acronyms I don't know, the things that are done. What I do know is that you're gonna put your foot in the floor and show up. And if someone does just that, right? And I think people forget that. If you just show up with the positive attitude and the open-mindedness to learn something new, you know, that anyone can work with it. That's not it's the people that show up and they're like either bullheaded and it's like, no, I was just supposed to do this one thing. What's this extra crap? Or it's like, this is too much. I'm drowning and panic. But dude, your whole even to now, right? Because I think, bro, you're selling yourself way short. The entrepreneur before into the military, people didn't even know either that this was like you've been able to do this while maintaining the closest family relationship I've ever seen. You and your brother just like shadowing crazy, but into that out prepared, jumping in the corporate level, conquered that beast. And then, like you said, you had these gold bracelets on your wrist, right? And to be able to again have the cojones to be like, why this bling looks nice, this ain't for me. I'm leaving. And not only like I said earlier, right? Like me getting out of this one gig, not unprepared, but like for me, mine is I'm getting out, going back to that safe thing I know, right? There's no balls in that, bro. That's just playing it safe. I'm still really just hoping that I hit big on that $50 scratch off. Whereas like yours is like, I'm getting out and I'm doing my own thing. I'm going to be my boss. Dude, that is like,
Well, yeah, and I mean, it definitely wasn't a get out. It wasn't a one step thing. I think it was always. I think for me, it's always like this apparent like life is super short, and anytime I'm like I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. For some reason I don't know what I'm just like cognizant of that like, and I always try to figure out like how can I not do any more of this. And so like I may like I may have to do, like, for example, the corporate world, like I may have to do 6 more years of this crap I don't like while I'm constantly, like, as soon as I clock out, I'm going out looking for rental properties. I'm trying to flip stuff on the side, trying to basically fail my way in to figure out how to be a flipper. And then now once I'm ready, I'm like, all right, now I can kind of, part ways. I mean, there's very few times I ever took, like, in my opinion, a risky bet.
Right.
Because, it's like I always have some fail safes. Also, I mean, one part of it is, the financial part. I always been like super scared and keep like a runway. Like I always give myself like a certain amount of runway. Like I bet on yourself for this long, but if it starts getting to the end, like, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
figure something out. So
That is the one place where we part ways.
yeah, yeah.
You've heard my money theory plenty of times. For those listening, oh man, almost in a ludicrous manner, operate my life with the motto of money isn't real. It's this thing, it's colored paper that we've put value on and made it, is it whatever, right?
What
As necessary.
I was gonna say that we might have to carve that out for a separate episode to dive all the way into
Yeah, dude. Oh, I'm not going to go
depth,
down
honestly.
my tangent about it. No, not at all. Which again, right? I think it's funny now that we're saying it out loud in this context. It seems that we're both operating the same way. It's coming from a place of preparedness and thought out with a certain amount of self-confidence and self-awareness, probably more important than anything, of shortfalls and things we're good at. But we both kind of have our own version of a safety net to approach these things from, which I think is important, that the people don't think we're just running off in the wild. Well, I mean, they can listen to you and you're fully pronounce your words and everything, so they know. But the going back to your, what'd you say, runway? You're like, hey,
Right, like
this is
I call
enough.
it like a
This is my
financial runway. Yeah.
right, my fail safe where like I'm gonna be good for a while if this goes south thing, right? Dude, I know my wife wishes I thought that way. Bro, and like so to what we're talking about right now, right? Like what I am actively living right now, right? I mean, you know how much I have in my savings account before I filed this paperwork yesterday? I don't have a savings account.
You don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say there.
Kim does. My wife does. She's got I call it her plan B account. And I'm not privileged enough to know what is in there, which is probably a good thing. Cause then I just swipe my Apple Card being like, you got it, sugar mama. But but yeah, dude, I think it's also because I know that, dude, I'm going to work till I die. And not because I want to work forever, because I can't sit still. And I know I have to be engaged in something. So I never think about like, what am I stocking up for? Plus, I hate the idea of like, when you see that old man at the gas station sitting in that car he wanted since he was 16 and now he's finally got it, but no girls are looking at him because he's 50, or excuse me, he's like 85, right?
Right.
And it's like, hey, saggy face, saggy balls. No one cares that you're in your cyber dumpster truck, freaking, that you've been saving up forever to feel like I have this status thing that says I've made it. Yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. I'd rather
You know what?
live. What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
I'd rather live in the confines of what I've been blessed with now, right? What I've earned now. I'd rather operate in my realm. I assume this is why I haven't hit the lotto, right? That's my assumption. That this is why this has not panned out for me yet, because I wouldn't change, right? I would still stay within my means, and like, because I feel like I've noticed, it's funny, like you said, you got out of the military and then all of a sudden you start making 6 figures, right? More money than you've seen, right? And same, right? Got out of the military, that combined with my retirement, right? More money than I've ever seen. And something I've learned very quickly since getting out is the more money I make, the more money I spend. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? For me, at
Oh,
least,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't see this like drastic change in lifestyle. Now, My kids, I feel like I see a drastic change. I feel like they have zero concept of like, dude, $20 is like a quarter to my kids.
Exactly.
It drives me bananas, but I want to the most important role I've ever had in my life, the coolest job I've ever had in my life is dad. And I'm super big on that. So I always give the head nod, like, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Now that my daughter's off at college, I think probably every 3 days my phone makes a weird noise. I look down, Apple Card notification, her name. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna stick around here a little longer.
No, that's awesome. But no, what I was gonna touch on, I think there's something to that. Like, the mindset of like you're gonna work forever, and not from a financial context of like I have to. But you see that there's so much data on like these people. They finally hit their 70, they can retire. They sit around and they die in 2 weeks because they have no point to live. So like I
Purpose is
think
gone.
exactly. I think the journey that you're on, and same for me. Like I'm trying to build a life that like I'm cool. Like you said, hit the lottery, whatever. If I need to keep doing this forever, whatever. Like it's cool. Like so, and I think your brain needs to be engaged throughout those older years, and so if you can build a life that you do enjoy. I mean, obviously you're not gonna enjoy every day, every minute of every day, but um, you know, if you can enjoy the
That's
most
why
part of it,
clowns are
and
scary as hell. No one should be that happy all the
there,
time.
right? But yeah, so I think there is something to that. Has a negative context when you say like I'm gonna work forever, but
Yeah,
I truly believe that I will too, just for nothing else but to keep the mind active, to keep the body, going, and tell your body subconsciously, like we can't be done yet. Like there's more to figure out. We gotta keep doing stuff, man.
well, and I think now that you've said that, I think, uh, almost like innately, right? Like, I'm really just trying to do that thing that comes natural to me, that I feel confident about, that I feel like I can actually be helpful to others doing for the rest of my life, right? It just so happens that because we worship at the altar of the almighty dollar, and we hold so much value in this reminiscence of a tree, that it's something that's become this monetary value, right? Where it's really just like this service that I can provide pretty decently, right? Dare I say professionally. Look at that. Look at that full
Hey,
circle, bro.
I don't.
Uh,
But
but no, yeah, man. And I think that is, man, to not to go like way deep here on a mystic level, but I mean, I honestly feel like that's the job, right? That is the purpose, is to grab that thing that you're good at and share it with others. I once had this boss tell me one time, man, that like, so life produces wise people, right? That's what it does. The older you get, the more you're supposed to learn, collect this knowledge, and grow wise, right? But knowledge that's not shared is a waste, right? It's
exactly.
yeah. So, yeah, man, so I think that's where I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound like I really don't care, because there is something to be said for, like, my brother believes this wholeheartedly, right? That annual sum, or that W-2 represents his worth, right? Like, to
Yeah.
not like this is tells you how valuable I am, right? And it's not that he wants that dollar figure as much as he likes the thing it says to him, right? That like, hey,
Mhm.
I am a valuable person. Uh, and so I do get that. And I'm just, man, if don't get me wrong, if someone offered me 6, 7 figures to do what I love, I'll be
Oh,
there.
man,
I'll be there. I'll be
for
there.
sure.
I might even shave this raggedy beard for you. Probably not, but yeah. But maybe I'll think about it.
Heck yeah. I thought with that, I know we kind of bounced around, touched on a little bit of our backgrounds today, but one of the in interest of kind of wrapping up and keeping this somewhat close to an hour. What's kind of your vision? Maybe share our vision, thoughts of what we think this thing could be. Topics we're gonna jump into. I don't know anything you want to touch on.
Okay, too easy. Uh, so there's 2 reasons I agreed to this, right? One, I love your face. I like hanging out with you. You are definitely one of that I would consider one of my ace bum cones. That's bestie. That's Alabama talk for best friend. Like I have a gang of friends, but like I would do a lot of illegal things to help you out. But so that's one. That's probably if we're prioritizing, that's number one, right? But two, man, I've just heard too often from too many people that I've met just along this little life journey. I've had 3 people that's tried to sit me down to write a book about where I started and where I am now. Because I mean, when you sit down and think about it, there's some movie reels in there for sure, for sure. There's still some things that I've sat there and been like, this can't be real right now. I'm probably the only person in the military that got called into a mission for an operation where the bad guy,
I forgot the
the bad,
story.
yeah, where the bad guy was your soccer teammate in high school gone rogue.
Can't
That
make
was
that
interesting,
up.
right? Like it's just, and I've had like, I mean, crazy after crazy happened that people have either right they've so I've had three people that's asked me to sit down and like put it in a book. Uh, the only one that I'd ever do it with told me not yet. He wants to see where civilian me lands, like closer to the end, and then put it down. And if I do it with him, and just to laugh about, highly doubt. I don't. He thinks it would be a bestseller. I think it is comedic that he feels that way. Um, but I've always heard that, and that I'm a good storyteller, right? Which is also hysterical to me because, in all honesty, man, I feel a lot of times I'm just rambling, right? Like Southerners do. I mean, to put on display, you like ask me what's up, and I think I turn it into a 15-minute explanation. And I don't do that. I don't do that intentionally. It's just me, bro. It's just me. It's just who I am. And but hearing that from so many people, it's kind of like that turd theory, right? There's a crappy person on every single team, and whether it's the Boy Scouts or SEAL Team 6, there's the turd is amongst you. And if you can't figure out who the turd is, then you need to look in the mirror because you're probably that guy, right? And that guy is often the turd is often the guy who's like sitting there moaning and groaning about like every relationship I'm involved in goes south, and this person and everyone they're describing around them is different, and they keep failing to see that they're the common denominator in all of this. You know what I mean? And so, just like how that is true, I feel like if I constantly hear the same thing, there's got to be some truth to this, right? And so that kind of gave me again. Let's not trip here. I'm really just doing this because it forces you to hang out with me, and I miss you. But there is a part of me that believes like maybe these people are right, and maybe some of my ramblings and crazy stories will be beneficial to someone or at most entertaining. And so I have no, I'm not coming in this with any preconceived notions, right? I'm just, and this is the one thing, right? Just for anyone who is making the mistake to listen, right? Like, one, thank you for what's the Jay-Z? You could be anywhere else, but you're here with us. So, I appreciate that. But I also think that, like, where was I going, bro? I just had that, and it went
There
that
it is.
fast.
People hanging out with us. If you are watching this,
Yes. So if you are, right, I think that there is a chance that through these crazy moments and stuff, man, that there's a really good chance that we spit out something that not necessarily profound to anyone, but like will really resonate and hit home and could help them in whether hopefully not, but whether they're in like a tough spot, right? And thinking that like, oh man, it's all downhill from here. I can promise you it could always be worse. Or on that lighthearted side of the house, man, like you said, dude, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And dude, laughter's medicine, bro. right?
For sure.
So even if it's not profound, if I could be that clown for somebody, I'll tap dance. It's
For sure, yeah, I think just to double down on a couple of those things, I reach out to him, so we chat on a fairly frequent basis on an app called Marco Polo, and we have some deep conversations, talk about life, all kinds of, like, very deep stuff. Then I have, like, and we kinda, like I go to him for a lot of stuff to ask me some questions. Then I have a lot of other people that, like, reach out to me and wanna know kinda, like, what I think about something. So, I think this is an opportunity for, like, 2 two dudes with professional opinions on a lot of topics for you to kind of get some insight, tap into. You may disagree with a lot of it. You may like a lot of it, but the one thing you're for sure gonna get is some real talk by 2 dudes who have seen a lot of stuff. I should say this dude's seen a lot of stuff. I've heard a lot of stories about a lot of stuff and bounced around a lot of things. So yeah, no, I think we're gonna kinda cover the gamut of life topics, get real deep. I know this one's kinda lighthearted, just kinda getting to know us, but we do have ideas, or we do have some topics for future episodes that I think you'll really enjoy. It's really deep stuff, and I look forward to really diving deep with you on some of those. So, I don't know if you have any parting thoughts, but, one goal you
yeah,
guys will see throughout this journey will be me trying to keep Cotton under an hour here, as he does have the
yeah.
gift of gab. So go. Let's
All
hear what
right,
you
so
got to wrap it up.
in the middle of that, when you were saying that, right, and this is how my brain works. So thank you, Tyler. Even my wife said, "God, he's about to figure out why this is so hard for me." But you said that, so it immediately sparked this. All right, first story, right? I promise I'm gonna try to wrap this fast. It never occurred to me, dude. I'm like 16, 17 years in, about to retire, and I go out for this training exercise, right? And me and this other cat, I love this dude, right? Handsome dude. We're out, we're doing this field exercise, right? And part of this, right, we're practicing like scaling out of buildings, right? Doing fast rope, climbing harness, right? Like landslide, there's a bomb, jump out the window, exfil, and live cadaver training involved, right? Because someone's always got to get blown up or whatever, and you got to save them. We can't never just do anything right, and so that's intimidating for a lot of people, right? The cadaver lab, right? And so dead bodies freaks people out, but I'd already told Shinigi some of my journey and stories from other exercises we were on. We do the lap, right? I got held up by the instructor, who was like phenomenal. This dude was popping Adderall every 15 minutes, just freak wizard, like had all these ideas. Just me and him clicked because we're both 1,000 miles an hour all over the place. And I come walking in, him and another stud, this chick named Bailey Jewel, awesome, right? Tatted up intel chick, strong as hell. Anyways, they're on the dead body doing work, right? I'm trying to catch up. So I'm just getting in where I fit in. And I come in. Colton has placed this tourniquet high on the thigh, inside of the right leg. Is supposed to be a gunshot wound to the leg. It always hits the femoral artery and it's squirting out everywhere. Da da da. I see it still like pretty good ooze coming out. Sorry if graphic detail, whatever. Right, my fault. Your bad. And so it's coming out, right. So kind of poorly placed tourniquet, Shinigi, but matters not, right? I just need to get in where I fit in, catch up, and see what's going on where we're at in this step. So I come in and just finger straight into the bullet hole, plug artery, right, and reach for, I had a pair of like forceps in my kit. I go in there, slip it, pinch off the artery, and I look up at Shinigi, and I'm like, all right, where are we at? And he's just the long stare, right? Like deer in headlights. And so I turn to Bailey, and she's like, blah, 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 and we keep moving forward. Well, we get to the room that night, and me and Shinigi are bunking together. And so I go in there and I'm like, Colton, what's up? And he's like, bro, can I tell you something? And I'm like, yeah, please do. And he's like, since I met you, you have always like shelled out these like just long stretched, like almost sound fabricated, has to be, can't be real stories, like these folk tales almost, right? And I used to think like that I like Cotton. He's a really nice guy. He's really good at telling these stories. I mean, he's obviously mostly full of shit, right? Oh, I cursed. It is Colton said that, right? I'm just quoting. Now we got to put the little sticker, right? But
Right.
yeah, but and so he says it to me, right? And I'm like, bro, this is the first time in 15, 16 years of this career, right? And the first time in my life, really, that ever even crossed my mind that someone might have this perspective that I'm just like blowing all this hot air all the time. Honest to God, dude, I'd never thought that people might perceive me in that manner. And he said it and he's like, but then you came in that room, you didn't say anything. You just come right in and you just straight with your bare hand finger, didn't even put a glove on. He was like, dude, it was like gold light shot out of that dude's leg. And he's like, oh my God, bro, everything this crazy bastard's ever said is true. Like, so, so I just wanted to get that out, man, as like a prerequisite that like, hey man, like this, you are inevitably at some point in time going to hear something that I'm telling you is not tailor made. It's just, this is just how it is, how things went down. There might be a little more color in it. But the bare bones is, it is what it is, man. And it's why one of the main reasons I think we came together was to share these experiences and get it out there because, man, because one, why not? And two, it was too much fun not to revisit, dude.
Yeah, that's epic. And I don't know Shinigi, but I can share exactly how you were feeling. I remember when you first got there, there was like some it's like everybody's
Did you
always so
really think
cool. We
that?
did this stuff, and dude, I mean, hardly anybody has like that many cool stories. And then like we started doing stuff. I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker. He's been an hour for sure ready to eat because I can't keep it in. But yeah. So nonetheless, disclaimer, you're gonna hear some crazy stories. I can
Yeah.
attest you heard it from somebody else. The shit's real. And yeah, it is. So with that, why don't we go ahead and wrap episode 1 up?
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
follow us out there. We're gonna put this out, the video and audio version on Spotify and YouTube. If you hear it somewhere else on audio, go and check us out on those two platforms. I don't know how it all works. Do you subscribe? Do you share? Do you like? Comment? If you can comment, I would love to hear what you guys are thinking. Let us know what you want to hear about. If you have questions, topics that we can dive into, we'd be happy to. But yeah, with that, anything else to leave with?
Roll Tide.
Go Buckeyes. Virtual high five to end it. Boom. Later, guys.
Later.